Okay, people, so this one is going to be called What You Are Looking At, as I just finished the kind of lengthy one. Sorry about that, but you know, they've done so much BS in raping and pillaging this country, which needs to stop right now. And I'm talking about, yes, these Franks. The Franks from the Rhine River Valley in Germany. The Franks. Or some people know them as Nazis, Nazis, or what have you, because they wish to remain not seen and wear masks. They're cowards. That's who they are. And they want to rob everything of this country and everybody in it. I don't think so, and I think once the American people get a whiff of that, it's not going to be good. Anyway, just as a reminder, this presentation, I'll call it, is protected by Title 17, subsection 107, or the Copyright Act of 1976, and by a free speech judgment by District Court Judge Terry Doty in Louisiana, who ruled that it is with a specific condition that not any websites or anything should restrict or take down any sites just because somebody is exercising their free speech. And in my case, it is what my findings are due to my own private experiences. Again, I wish to also reemphasize that pretty much, the websites that I've dealt with anyway have been nothing but courteous and have, done nothing but be good to me. So I just wish to express that. Anyhow, this is called What You Are Looking At, Part 2, the Bedtime Story. People might ask, what? You gonna tell us a bedtime story? You bet your ass I am. If you don't quite comprehend what you are looking at, part 1 was about, let me just tell you a little story. Okay? It is just a story, but it pretty much points to the T of what these Franks are doing to this country as we speak. Okay? Because let me just remind you, every American has their own e-state or enterprise state. And what these not seen Franks want to do is just push it all out of the way, keep it away from you during your life, not letting you enjoy your life. And in a lot of cases, killing said sovereign American. And then enjoy what they were supposed to enjoy in life after they die. Which is, if you've ever heard, we were expecting that to be released, but the Michael Jackson estate has said that they are not going to release it just yet. Well, who is the Michael Jackson estate after he's gone? Or at least his image is gone. Who is that? They don't have any right to be doing that. Who is it? Who's running it? Okay, I already know all about this, so just take my word for it. And I gave my credentials in the last presentation there. I have a CIA via IRS blocking team on me. Why do I say that? Because as soon as I submitted my estate claim, one of two, the first time that I did, exactly 90 days later, which is per trust law, they sent a blocking team on me, which means they block any kind of car I wish to purchase, home I wish to purchase, so they can keep me, from not doing it, so that they can keep me somewhat, let's say, in limbo, exposed, so they can get as many shots at me as they can. That is called war crimes, treason, and crimes against humanity. Just to make it clear. Okay? So anyhow, let's get into the bedtime story. Now, I'm not going to recommend it, but yeah, it would be a good idea if you, were ready to go to sleep and you wanted to hear a bedtime story, just so you'll comprehend what you're looking at as it's going on today, in parentheses. In real life, you can make more sense of it. Here we go. So here's your bedtime story. Everybody all tucked in and got your covers up and everything. Hot chocolate by the bed and everything. Okay. All right. I'm a big proponent on making sure everybody's comfortable because, I love you guys. So, as far as it is in my power, I do not intend to at all permit discomfort or dissatisfaction or unhappiness in any way. Here we go. So this bedtime story is called, again, to help you comprehend better what part one was about, which is what you're looking at today. It's called The Jealous Cousin. I want you to remember the word cousin especially. We'll come back to it. Okay, so the jealous cousin. So let's just say that this scene opens with a family. A mom and a dad. They've got 5 beautiful kids. But only after. Okay. They decided they were going to, well, let's just say, after they decided, well, the wife couldn't have any more kids. Let's say that. That's just a fictional condition. So they wanted a 6th. So they decided to adopt one. Now, the first 5 kids that they had naturally were theirs by blood. They had, they were all beautiful, all healthy, blonde and brunette and what have you, 3 boys, 3 girls. And no, I'm not referring to the Brady Bunch here, but anyway. 3 girls, 2 boys, I'm sorry. But then, I guess it would be, 3 boys, 2 girls. My mistake, I'm sorry. Not going to be any editing here. So 3 boys and 2 girls, but they wanted another one, so they decided to adopt another girl. And this girl ended up being adopted by this large family. Now, you would think this would make that girl. I'm going to stop right here and say this is a comparison that the Americans tend to take in immigrants, period. Okay. They do give them things like health care and medical, whatever cash or stuff, and they're going to give them, and, living allowance and all that stuff. And to my research, a lot of times, it's more than the actual true American sovereign residents. Let me tell you one thing here. You take care of your own people first. And then with your surplus, if you take care of them. Okay? Or you do what need be necessary to keep them healthy and whatever. But anyhow, so they adopt this 6th girl, or 6th child, which is a girl. 3 girls, 3 boys now. This girl comes into this family all happy. She's thrilled to be there. To be happy and part of a large family and all that stuff. In America and all that stuff. Now, this girl grows up with the other brothers and sisters, the natural ones. Usually, it's, for the most part, no problem. But this little bitty seed in her, and I say seed loosely, okay, always sat with her like she wasn't part equally of the family, even though the mom and dad hugged her and kissed her and treated her the same on Christmas and all this stuff. I mean, there was no difference. But she always kept that tiny little jealous feeling, which ended up becoming a huge jealous feeling. By the time she was 18, all the other kids who were 20-something, one was approaching 30, and they already, most of them married, they had their own careers, own kids, whatever. But this girl was still holding on, which had now been nurturing a jealous, and when I say jealous, people, it's a dangerous thing, okay? Had been nurturing a jealous seed that she was not equal in the family. And then one day, she happened to stumble across some mail. She wasn't supposed to look at it because it was from the mom and dad's attorneys. It was a big package. And on the envelope had written, attention, at the end of the address, attention, regarding offspring situations or something like that. Well, that kind of got the best of her. Remember, by now she's almost 18. She's still getting ready to finish high school, and she now is starting to kind of approach the deep end here. So what happens is while the mom and dad are away, they don't get home until, 5 and 6. It's like, 2:30 in the afternoon. She's already gotten home from school. She sees this. She wants to know. So she opens it. Now, she does get it. She kind of comprehends what the lawyer is sending them, which is basically their will in case they pass on or pass away, that they are going to get, certain shares of what they had and all this stuff. But they're all going to get, including the jealous cousin, let's say. Well, because she had been nurturing this jealous seed, and only she knows now about this information. Now remember that. Only she knows about this information. She decides she's going to try to manipulate this thing. Influence is a strong word, and the key word as I use it here. She's going to try to influence this thing so that because she felt she didn't get equal love when they were all growing up, and she didn't get equal love when they were growing up. She decides she's gonna try to concoct a scheme. If you remember what I said in the last one, concoct a scheme so that she ends up with everybody's shares. Now at this point, I want you to remember also what I said in the last one about getting in the middle and putting two two sets of information, two different sets of information, to one side and the other. Okay? Because this is exactly what CIA and the intelligence community does. They like to get in the middle. Let's just use something as simple as, oh, I don't know, sending something to the IRS, like an estate claim. And they'll get in the middle. They'll send you one set of information. It never reaches IRS, or the Internal Revenue Service. And they send them another one saying, oh, they'll make like a fake one up of what you did. Make it sound so ridiculous and stuff. They'll want to send something that they call frivolous, which literally means basically not important or unweighted. And a lot of you are probably reading this as I tell it, so trust me when I say anything I sent anyway would never be unimportant or unweighted, especially if they try to, invoke any penalties or anything after that. That's just an admission of you found us out, and this is our only way we can retaliate. Anyway, that's what being in the middle and issuing two sets of information is about. Like, the sender might get one from the in-between point, which might be called, like a stop, 44, or whatever it might be. Why? Because it's a stop. It's a stop on the estate claimer if they're not part of their list, which some entity called, maybe selective service might handle. Who knows? Oh, but that's a military thing. No, it's not, if you only knew. Anyway, that's how it works. Two sets of information to two different parties, and the one in the middle, which is a stop, full stop actually, or an intercept, is going to treat, as in trick or treat, and I do mean trick or treat the situation. So she decides, this jealous cousin, this newest adopted child, who always felt, just because she felt she was always treated equally, because she felt she was not loved as much as the other kids. I don't know about you, but I think if somebody raises you from the time you're a baby, gives you a place to stay, food in your mouth, or food on the table, clothes on your back, and is ready to help you graduate from high school, and ready to send you to college, I hardly find that that's a less love or neglect situation in any case. And I'm sure most of you, the sane ones anyway, not the psychopaths, will agree with me. So, this jealous cousin, now remember when I say this jealous cousin, because it's going to come into play when I talk about our American cousin. I'm not going to tell you about it now. Just it's an Abraham Lincoln thing, and you'll see what I mean. So this jealous cousin decides, screw this. Spoiled as she is now. All the other kids are thankful. They're thankful what their mom and dad did for them. They're on to their careers now. Some have got kids. Some are approaching 30. They're thankful. They love their mom and dad. But this jealous cousin just can't deal with it. She feels that she has been neglected. She's been getting everything, been given everything. She feels neglected. So this hate, now remember this, via an emotion called jealousy, is going to trigger her downfall. over-the-edge moment where she decides she's going to take every one of these kids down and cut them out of the will, one way or the other, even if it means killing them because she's hated them for so long, all in her own mind. So let's say the first one was this, eldest one was a girl, and the next one was also a girl, the next one a boy, the next one a girl, and then the next one a boy. That's the 5 of them, plus her makes 6. And she starts to do things like clandestinely. Remember when I mentioned the intelligence community being the Franks? Clandestinely. It means without anybody knowing, laying low, being not seen, stuff like that. She's going to try to get them all cut out of the will by, forging a document. Ultimately telling the lawyer, hey, communicate with us at this address. So she goes out and gets a P.O. box so she can communicate with the lawyer by herself. She forges the signatures of the mom and dad. And slowly and slowly and slowly, she has now cut all the other kids out of the will that her mom and dad have been working so hard to protect, to keep for them since they were babies. So now, because this 6th child, adopted no less, was boiling in her own jealous rage of these other natural kids from the mom and dad, she really started to want to control. Let me say it again. Control the situation to the point where she became a control freak, especially of this situation. And slowly but surely, she started to cut all the other kids out of the will. They were included first in. Mom and Dad had actually done another revision to include this jealous 6th child, or cousin, we'll call her. Well, what she started to do was hire actors now. Actors to play the Mr., the dad, and the Mrs., the mom of this family when they talked on the phone. Their signatures would then be similar to what this 6th child had been doing, which was a copy of the real mom and dad. But from this point on, they would be dead-ons, and I mean dead, quote-unquote, ons, matches for whatever signature was to become. So at this point now, all the kids have been the real, natural kids, to none of the real mom and dad's intent. Oh, by the way, she made sure that the real mom and dad received letters from the attorney's firm, which was now a fake attorney's firm, so that whoever they were talking to would be basically within her control. More actors to play Attorney Leibowitz, or whatever his name would be. Therefore, he would tell them what they needed to hear. Everything's fine. We got all your kids taken care of. They're all into trusts and da-da-da. Equally divided and all that shit when it really wasn't. Because she knew this jealous cousin, the unrelated one, would do to her madness now. She knew that all of it would come down to authentic documents within her control. Now, let's go one further. Well, she didn't want to have to face him now. It's kind of like today where, a lot of these auction sites or major corporate sites or major package delivery sites or what have you don't want anyone to have to talk to anyone, so they simply make up all kind of automated BS, so nobody not only has to talk to anybody, but from the other side can never get through to anybody. Anybody ever experienced that yet? I did 3 times today. And that needs to go. It's called, trying to avoid TROUBLE. Quote unquote. Anyway, so she still now, as it goes more, this is how it infects the greedy human mind, okay? This is how it affects it when they've lost it and just lost complete control of their mind. She now doesn't want to have to face them, period. Just like I was telling you about with the automated responses. She doesn't want to have to face them, period. So she starts out one at a time to take them out. One at a time. She's the youngest one. She's got a few years on each of them. She figures she can be the most powerful of all of them and start taking them out one by one. So she tries to poison one. She tries to cut the brake lines on another's car, hoping they'll drive home and get killed in a car accident. And, some of the same kind of BS that, just like that she tried to the other 3 of them. So let's say 2 of them were successful, unfortunately. But the 3 of them started to suspect, because everybody called each other every so often. This is called human behavior, people. The 3 of them always called each other regularly and tried to call her, but for some reason, none of the 3 were able to get in touch with her. Maybe rarely if they went over. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I just changed my phone service. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I left my phone in the car. Oh, yes. Okay, all of these lame excuses start to add up. Or not add up, as I should say. So the remaining 3, which would have been 2 girls and a boy, start to talk. And they're starting to suspect something isn't right. So they decide to go down themselves to the attorney's office. And they do. And when they get there, because she's already thought of this too, they're told that that the attorney's not in, or that he's in but he's got a client the next time, or he's in but he's in a meeting the next time, because the jealous cousin has already made it clear to the attorney, also giving him 10% stake in the inheritance. inheritance, quote unquote. 10% stake, so he can always stay away from them. And he does. Because of the deadly effect of this fiat crap that they call currency. Has no value at all. But he does it. So then they really begin to get suspicious of this one, this jealous cousin. The jealous cousin ends up moving to the next city over so she can hopefully, avoid any BS by these three who now feel like they're racing the clock. They're racing the clock. Gee, we hope we don't end up getting, suicided or something before this one has to work, because they already know now. The attorney is not, now this is the God component, people. The attorney is not being able to be gotten in touch with. This jealous cousin, their youngest sister supposedly, but this jealous cousin is not being able to be gotten in touch with. Okay, so at that point, people, it's a read. It's a confirmation, I hate to use the word, but more than that, it's an affirmation. And it shows a conspiracy and or at the very least a collaboration between this jealous cousin, which I don't mind saying so now, seems to have become a psychopathic bitch, and this attorney who, if you know what oath they take, you'll know never, no matter how much you pay them, work for you. In fact, I would probably go check Vatican City in their on-site offices. But anyway, as far as that oath goes. But anyway, yeah, their oath is to basically fake fiat currency that can be stolen at the point of exchange, for goods and services kind of thing. Well, so to continue on, this jealous cousin decides she's gonna try to avoid them even more by not taking any calls. And just by coincidence, the other three, one is poisoned, one does get hit by a car and almost dies but doesn't. And the other one experiences some kind of really bad headaches and stress where she is like chronically fatigued and she has to check herself into the hospital to find what's wrong. And it turns out that she's been breathing in some kind of aroma fumes from something that a co-worker recommended be put at her desk during work. So, with all of this now added up, they're on complete DEFCON 1 defense, and they are after this girl, this jealous cousin. They go to the attorney's office. They barge in. One of them actually knew a police officer who agreed to just kind of go in with them. And it scared the attorney so much. Of course, they're all paranoid, and, they do it until they can't when it comes to their fake fiat currency. And he admitted everything. Yes, I used to receive communications from the parents, who are both gone now. And yes, the signatures didn't match exactly, but they were similar, so I just took it that they were. And when the officer brought up the 10% stake, as they had discovered, well, he was arrested right there. So now it's just family against a supposed family. Well, that APB was put out, And she was finally brought in, caught. It was discovered that all those communications, the separate P.O. boxes, the separate actors that were hired to play said attorney and hired to play, whomever else that it need be, so that that paperwork could go the correct way, was found out. And this jealous cousin was finally caught after all of this damage. And as it turns out, she even had a hand in killing the mother and the father, besides the other siblings. This is what they do, people. This jealous cousin is every single one. This is what I'm trying to tell you. What you are looking at in part 1. This is what you are looking at. Okay. This jealous cousin is every single one of these Franks, these American imposters. They could live next to you. They could go to school with you. Their kids could go to school with your kids. They are American imposters. They act like, oh, nice and sweet Americans. Oh, can I get you anything tonight? Are you going to be okay? And all that shit. And then all of a sudden you see they are living it up on your privileges. They have the most elaborate Christmases, the most recent cars, and the biggest houses and all this shit. And you just, no matter what or who you write or whatever, don't seem to be getting anything, even though you know certain information, maybe. Who knows? But all of a sudden you wake up and find one day that these American imposters, these Franks, these Nazis, that they now have the way of life that you used to live when you were younger as a teenager or a kid, while you are barely able to afford a room in somebody else's house. And it is absolutely obvious, it is absolutely absurd and obscene, and when you go and try to mention it to anybody, meaning court and I know how the court system works too, so as long as you don't put ex parte and or ex real on the particular cover page and the title page, it pretty much means that the courts can do whatever they want, which means that the attorneys can do whatever they want, because they're the ones who decide them, because they have to have a legal reason to do so. And that's it. That's called an invasion, people. That's called an internal crossing the border invasion that needs to be put down immediately. They model themselves, and I say this with all sincerity, I know how. They model themselves. I know it because I hear it every night, people. I monitor them just like they monitor me. Don't forget, I have a CIA blocking team on me, and I've just been using them as a really big monitoring experiment. And they use it so that they can have your way of life and or your kids' way of life, and it never be found out. That's what this jealous cousin tried to do. Turns out she was found out, and she's going to be spending the rest of her life, per this bedtime story, in a maybe not so nice female prison for the rest of her life. Now, if it was like the blocking team that's on me that has committed such treason upon myself, they're not going to get life in prison. They're going to be getting the death penalty. And usually treason calls for it to be done in 90 days. It's probably going to be quicker than that, knowing that the danger level is as is on these particular, what I call droids, because they're programmed in their minds by this intel community. So now I go back to this jealous cousin, all because she wanted everything for herself. Wasn't thankful that she had food in her mouth, clothes on her back, a place to stay, and all that stuff. Could have been worse, wherever they dragged her from, who knows where. But that wasn't enough. Her jealous rage grew bigger, wanted to off all the other kids and take everything for herself. So the reason why, people, I call her the jealous cousin. And when I tell you this, there's going to be, some might be shocked, some might be, oh yeah, but whatever the case. People, all these landmarks, these Americana landmarks, are all, you'll find that it's a parallel situation in just about every case, because they consider themselves these American imposters, these ones that keep reacting like, oh, everybody's going to get $1 million tomorrow and every month for the rest of your life. Well, most people would be thrilled with that. But they're going to be the ones to bitch about it, because they're on the take, and they're used to getting more. That's your privileges they're stealing. And those are the guilty ones, people. Now, these Americana landmarks I'm talking about, did you know that the Liberty Bell was not cracked? It was drilled. Drilled, baby, drilled. As I heard, it was a 6-inch drill. They even say so on the website. It was drilled to make the crack. It didn't just crack. That's called a show, people. Statue of Liberty? Well, that's another pagan, made-up pagan goddess, which is one of two sisters, which represents a split. The split at birth of you. They take your wallet and give you just the label. So you have to exist on your sweat labor and not on your inheritance. So they can enjoy your inheritance. SOL, right? Statue of Liberty. No. Try SOL as in Sons of Liberty, based in New York. Because the blocking team that's on me, the majority of them, at least as I saw them at one time, were from New York. Okay? New York didn't sign what we know as the Constitution in time. So they're pretty much basically outside floating on a U.S. minor outlying island that says they're part of this country. So just gnaw on that for a little bit and go look it up. They never ratified the Constitution as we know it to be in time. But most of the blocking team that's on me, yeah, from New York. I met every one of them and heard all their accents. SOL, Statue of Liberty? No, Sons of Liberty. But some of it refer to it as the corporate soul. SOL, soul, right? Mount Rushmore. If you know what rush means, because everything it's para. They're parasites. They call themselves paramilitary, but parasites. Well, what's the parallel meaning of Mount Rushmore? Well, I'm going to start out by saying this about Mount Rushmore. There's a curious little, we'll say partially constructed, partially supposedly meant to be in nature, just there, behind the heads, that houses supposedly an original Constitution and some other original documents. I wonder what those would say. That makes me curious. Is all you know what out. But they're there. Just go look right behind the heads. You'll see them. Now, if you know what rush means in a college, like a college, electoral college, did I say that out loud? I didn't mean to. Electoral college, as in a college, like a college, like a college. Somehow, when I looked it up, it kind of translated into a bunch of pink glitter. Pink meaning a communist color, but glitter meaning shining, 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 like shining capital on a hill, which might be DC. I don't know. All this stuff happens in my head in less than a second, and it's just unbelievable. Okay, but you need to look all that up to see what it really means. But rush in college, when people rush a sorority house, they call it rush week. Or when they rush a fraternity house, they call it rush week. It means they're trying to get into your fraternity or your sorority. Why? So you can be one of these fakers, these art historians that look up to Jan, the guy named Jan. His last name is Six, so Jan Six. So you can be an art historian and fake everybody out of their inheritances, their real inheritances, their real ways of life. I really hope, besides the CIA blocking team, blankety blanks, that I really meet one. You know, I just thought it'd be interesting to meet one. I'm not going to say what would be said, because probably nothing would be. Actions I can't speak for, but anyhow, yeah, these Americana landmarks. So it says rush more, meaning overtake. You get it? Surprisingly, there's a little lodge near there called the Presidential Suites, or a lodge, or a hotel, or whatever it is. And these are all over the country, people. This is nothing new. Okay? So I'm just letting you know. Now, I'm going to cut it off here, but not without giving you what I promised, or what I at least said I would. You see, this jealous cousin, to bring this bedtime story to a close, you know, Abraham Lincoln, it's the funniest thing, and I don't like to judge, I don't like to have feelings favoring someone, but I just look at it as all, if you've ever seen The Prince's Diaries, a Genovian situation. Okay, their kingdom on their island of Genovia was all made up, especially in the part where they were trying to knighthood a couple of people who were in their awe off a trolley. It was stupid, and you could tell it was fake because they were almost making fun of them. Prince's Diaries, that was Prince's Diaries too. So I call it the Genovian situation, or the Genovian government. Well, it's not a government. It's just a make-believe kingdom, and they tell everybody that they get to make the calls. That's all it is. Now, there is a place in Italy called Genoa, so you can call it Genovian or Genoan. Whatever the case, it's a fake government thrust upon the people to make them believe that they have to do what they say. Okay, but let's jump back to this Abraham Lincoln situation that I said I was going to talk about regarding this jealous cousin. People, do you know what the play was called at Ford's Theater the night, supposedly, when I say Lincoln, look, I don't want to jump off again here, but he does look a lot like Jefferson Davis, who just happened to be the president also on the Confederate side. I'm just saying. Okay? But that's probably not his doing. You know whose doing it is. These Franks, if you gaseously excrete one way, thinking it's going to go northwest, and it goes northeast, you blame it on these Franks, because that's exactly what they're going to do to you. And more importantly, whatever they do to you, they're going to blame you for doing to them. That's their mirror. Remember I talked about Edward Snowden? Yeah, that's the mirror, Alice in Wonderland. Alice through the looking glass, that's the mirror. The mirror. Look in the mirror, and everything on the other side does exactly the opposite of what you do. Okay, but let's go back to Abraham Lincoln and that night where he was supposedly assassinated by an actor. You don't think they communicate to their minions and their descendants? By an actor who said, Sic semper tyrannis, forever the tyrants? Really? You gotta be kidding me. All right, but supposedly he got assassinated up there, whatever. Do you know what the name of the play was that night? The name of the play before all that supposedly went down. And I want you to remember the title of this, which I call, the jealous cousin, was called Our, meaning there, Our American, which is nothing of the sort, cousin. Our American cousin. And just in case you think, because they always insert checks, right? Meaning, check against something, fact check against something, in their communications to their descendants. So did you know that besides that play being called Our American Cousin, and I'll leave you with this, that in the JFK thing, there's a reason I keep bringing this up, by the way. You need to watch Jackie and how she takes her cue from John Connolly, JC, Jesus Christ, who knows? Right? That's a communication. I'll do one on the communications part there later, but did you know that the accused in the JFK situation shot from a warehouse and ran to a theater? And if you want perfect mirrors, you need to look at Neely and the Atari symbol that kind of, goes to the Stemmons Freeway. One's Main Street, one's whatever else it is, but it kind of merges into one. That's the Atari symbol. And that's how they use it, because it's a perfect mirror. Here's the result of your perfect mirror. Did you also know that the accused in shooting, who we know to be as Abraham Lincoln, shot at a theater and ran to a nearby warehouse? I'll leave you with that. And I really hope all of you have a good night's sleep. I love each and every one of you. Take care. Bye-bye.